News Review, your daily source for the most critical stories in the financial world. Tune in next time for the latest financial news impacting the world economy.
The 12th Lujiazuru Forum 2020, covering some of the hot issues in the economic and financial fields, opened in Shanghai. The theme of the forum is Shanghai International Financial Center 2020, New Starting Point, New Mission, and New Vision. Important figures from China's economic and financial sectors attended, including the chairman of the China Securities Regulatory Commission, the governor of the People's Bank of China, chairman of China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission, and all of them delivered speeches. They said that China is accelerating the opening of its capital market. Restrictions on foreign shares of security funds and future business institutions have been fully liberalized earlier, with 6 foreign-owned security firms bidding their presence in China. Foreign capital generally maintained a net inflow, especially since the beginning of the year. Yi Kang, who works for one of those companies, said that China's current economy is sound and its monetary policy remains within the normal range. Measures including 3 cuts to required reserve ratios, an increase of 1.8 trillion yuan, refinancing and rediscount limit increasing, the introduction of microcredit loan support plans for enterprises, implementation of small and medium-sized enterprise loan phase deferred repayment policy have all produced reasonable results. Moreover, it is said that since the beginning of the year, the financial market and financial institutions have shown great resilience and endurance. In the next step, the financial administrative authorities will continue to focus on stabilizing employment and companies, setting up efforts to ensure stability on 6 fronts, and maintain security in 6 areas, thereby accelerating the economy to going back to a normal cycle.
Cuba loosened lockdown restrictions on June 18th after 3 months of quarantine to try to stem the spread of coronavirus. However, local businesses reopening complained of a lack of supplies to offer their customers. 13 provinces and the Isle of Juventud have not reported coronavirus cases for several weeks and received the go-ahead from the government to undertake the first phase of post-COVID-19 recovery, while maintain the mandatory use of face masks and physical distancing. Havana and Matanzas are the provinces with high infection rates in the country and remain under quarantine. Raul Jimenez, owner of La Colada, a private cafeteria in Artemisa, about 40 kilometers west of Havana, said she opened 2 or 3 days ago and has particularly nothing to offer because there is little product. Jimenez, who sells pizzas and sandwiches among other products, said that the city is more lively after the reopening, but products are scarce. The government has said it has controlled the virus and new cases have been reduced to less than 15 on average. Currently, the island has reported 2,295 cases since March and a total of 85 deaths. A total of 2,020 patients have recovered. The post-COVID-19 reopening plan includes 3 phases, and provinces must meet the health requirements to better track the virus. According to the government, schools will reopen in September, while public and private transport will gradually open after that. Tourism is a boon for the Cuban economy, but will only be open to locals in the first phase.
The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said Britain could deal with its economy in a creative and constructive way after a status quo transition with the European Union finishes at the end of the year. Johnson told Parliament during the weekly Prime Minister's question session that the public was fed up of ongoing debates over the merits of Brexit, and the public was going to focus on pushing through the transition period and beginning to look at new ways to improve the economy. The remarks came as the pound had risen more than 4% against the dollar in the last 3 months, but is still far off levels seen before the new coronavirus sent global markets tumbling in March. Brexit's uncertainties are still weighing on the pound, but leaders from Britain and the European Union agreed that talks on their future relationship should be stepped up. Johnson suggested an agreement could be reached in July. With the status quo transition deal set to expire at the end of the year, Britain is seeking a free trade agreement with the EU, which it left on January 31st, but negotiators have so far made very little progress.
The governor of the People's Bank of China, Yi Gang, said that China's financial institutions will surrender 1.5 trillion yuan in profits to support the real economy this year. Delivering a speech at the opening ceremony of the Lijiazhi Forum of 2020 via video link, Yi said surrendering part of profits is among a package of measures introduced by the central bank to support the real economy. The two-day forum opened in Shanghai under the theme of Shanghai International Financial Center 2020, New Starting Point, New Mission, New Vision. According to the official, in the first 6 months, the central bank cut the reserve requirement ratio for 3 times, expanding the re-lending and re-discounting quota for 1.8 trillion yuan, put forward the support plan for small and micro-sized enterprises to loan on credit, and implemented the policy allowing micro, small and medium-sized businesses to postpone principal and interest repayments on loans. All those measures have obtained good results. He said that China's financial institutions have enhanced the efforts to clean up the non-performing assets to increase the bank's ability in providing sustainable support to the real economy. This is also an important way for the financial institutions to help bear the real economic cost, said Yi. Meanwhile, the central bank has also encouraged the financial institutions to surrender some profits to companies by carrying out market-oriented reform of interest rate.
Environmental campaigners delivered a 12-foot or 3.6-meter tall mock-up of an Amazon parcel to the French Finance Ministry June the 17th to demand the government rein in the e-commerce giant's expansion in France. Campaigners who did not have official permission for the protest parked a rental van outside the ministry and unloaded parcels, which they then assembled into a box as security guards looked on. The box was decorated with the Amazon logo and the slogan, "Stop Amazon." Campaigners also used spray paint and stencils to write the phrase, "Amazon, the state must say stop," on the pavement in front of the ministry. The activists behind the protest say Amazon promotes a culture of consumption which hurts the environment and it squeezes out small businesses. Amazon said in a statement it believed e-commerce was less harmful for the environment than traditional retail, and it was committed to reaching the threshold of net zero carbon for all its businesses by 2040. It said it had created over 30,000 direct and indirect jobs in France in the past 20 years, including at small businesses which trade on the Amazon platform. Governor of Japan's central bank, Haruhiko Kuroda, said it's bracing for a protracted battle against the virus, signaling its readiness to top up monetary support. The Bank of Japan stuck to its view that the world's third largest economy will gradually recover as the pandemic subsides in the latter half of the year. Kuroda told a news conference that for the time being, officials will closely monitor the impact of the new virus, COVID-19, and will not hesitate to take additional easing measures if necessary. Kuroda said the BOJ, or the Bank of Japan, was ready to expand the size of lending programs. He said Japan had lost momentum toward achieving the 2% inflation target due to the pandemic and conceded inflation will remain subdued in the coming years.
Brazilians on the streets of Rio de Janeiro said they understood the dangers of the coronavirus, but also noted the need to balance the risk with reviving the economy and returning to work. Local resident and automotive worker Fabiano said there are 2 necessary things: taking care of yourself and working, referring to the difficult decision Brazilians face. as the coronavirus crisis drags on. Coconut water seller Rafaela Castorera, however, was more certain which side she fell on, saying that they have to open up businesses because everyone here is going hungry. Data showed that Brazil's service sector, which accounts for more than two-thirds of all economic activity, shrank at a record pace in April and is now 27% smaller than it was in 2014. Meanwhile, in Brasilia, right-wing President Jair Bolsonaro referenced his ongoing feud with the country's Supreme Court. Bolsonaro has in recent weeks endorsed supporters who staged protests calling for military intervention in domestic politics and the closure of the Supreme Court and Congress. The clash has triggered fears Brazil's young democracy may not survive the struggle taking place during the world's worst coronavirus outbreak outside of the US. The court has authorized investigations into allegations that Bolsonaro made federal police appointments for personal motives. It is also investigating the anti-democratic rallies, a probe that has resulted in the arrest of the most militant leaders and raids of homes and offices of alleged organizers. Brazil reported a record 34,911 new coronavirus cases on June 16th, the same day that one of the senior officials leading the country's widely criticized response to the crisis said the outbreak was under control. Brazil, the world's number 2 coronavirus hotspot after the United States, is fast approaching 1 million cases, although experts say the true number is likely to be higher due to patchy testing.
This has been Business Review, your daily source for the most critical financial stories. Tune in next time for the latest financial news impacting the world economy.